I recently got, for the first time ever, got COVID.
Oh.
How did I go so long without finally? So I'm all vaccinated and everything like that. And so I got, because I think he mentioned it publicly, so I can mention it, but I won't mention anybody else involved. But hanging out, we all got, Elon got COVID. And the interesting thing about, maybe you can comment about this. So I was only sick for like a half a day. I got a fever of like 104. It just went up and then crashed. And then now maybe I'm just seeing the silver lining of everything, but afterwards, I have like a greater clarity about the world.
You just think it's greater clarity.
maybe it was so maybe so intensely the mind fog kind of thing for such a short amount of time, but the people weren't involved were also reporting this.
Huh?
It's kind of interesting. It's like because I do know, like, the immune system is involved with the brain in very interesting ways. So like the human mind also incorporates all these other, it's not just the nervous system. And I just wonder, because everyone always says, no, not like, everyone always says like COVID does all these bad things or whatever the disease is or whatever the virus. But I wonder, like, I hate to be a Steven Pinker on this, but like, I wonder what the benefits of certain disease are if you're able to recover from it. Like, what is there some like, again, don't want to romanticize it, but if your system goes through some kind of hardship and you come out on the other end, I wonder sometimes if there's a greater, maybe killed off a bunch of neurons that I didn't need anyway, and that were actually getting in the way. There were the hater neurons.
Well,
I
that
don't
was
know.
your inner critic that I was talking about.
Exactly.
Earlier. You killed off your critic. Well, there are mechanisms for the potential mechanisms for what you're talking about. There's actually been a fair bit of research on post-COVID neurological function. Actually, my wife, Michelle Monge, who's at Stanford, she's done a lot of this work. Akiko Iwasaki at Yale has done a lot of this. But what they found is that there's a loss of myelin. This is the coding of those long-range projections that go from one part of the brain to another. Myelin is this sort of insulator that coats these long-range projections and makes the impulses go faster and more reliably. And there's altered function of the myelin-producing cells and altered myelin in the case of COVID. They've looked in both mouse and human brains. But of course, it could be very idiosyncratic. Many people have cognitive problems post-COVID. You're definitely aware of that. So many people report this persistent brain fog, inability to function. But it depends on where the inflammation was. Maybe the people who have dysfunction post-COVID, they had a global effect. Maybe you lost some of these projections that were restraining you in some way, and these plausibly exist. And it's known that there are cell populations in the prefrontal cortex that actively restrain deeper structures from expressing what they do. And it's theoretically possible that you had a lucky
somebody has to get lucky, right?
Somebody has to get lucky. Yeah.
Why not me?